In the shadowy recesses of a war-torn world, where steel behemoths clashed and nations trembled, a technological terror was born. The Soviet Union, forever fueled by an insatiable hunger for military superiority, embarked on a clandestine endeavor, the creation of a machine designed to crush its enemies beneath its iron heel. It was the aftermath of World War II, and the Soviet Empire was at the height of its power. Joseph Stalin, the iron-fisted leader, had decreed that the Red Army must possess the greatest arsenal on Earth. And so, in the darkest recesses of the Soviet design bureaus, a team of brilliant engineers and tank designers began to secretly work on a monster. A tank so formidable that it would strike fear into the hearts of its adversaries. Meet the IS-7, codenamed Objekt 770, a behemoth of steel and fire that would become the stuff of nightmares. With its gargantuan dimensions, its armor as thick as a castle wall, and a main gun capable of delivering a crushing blow to its enemies, the IS-7 was the ultimate expression of Soviet military might. This was no ordinary tank. This was a monster, a war machine designed to annihilate its foes with impunity. And yet, the IS-7's story is not one of triumph, but of tragedy, a testament to the hubris of military ambition. It would ultimately prove to be a symbol of Soviet overreach, a reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked technological advancement. Join us as we delve into the dark and fascinating world of the IS-7, a tank that would unleash a terror upon the world that few could ever imagine. In a world where the Iron Curtain cast a long and ominous shadow, the Soviet Union's industrial behemoth churned out machines of war with unfathomable fury. It was a time when the very fabric of the Cold War trembled with the weight of an impending Armageddon. And in this maelstrom of steel and fire, one behemoth tank would rise to become the most terrifying creation of them all, the IS-7. In the sweltering heat of the Soviet Union's tank design factories, a team of engineers and designers toiled day and night, fueled by an unyielding obsession to create a monster that would leave its enemies shattered and bleeding. Led by the enigmatic and brilliant chief designer, Alexei Iosifovich, this team of geniuses would stop at nothing to unleash a terror upon the battlefield. As the clock ticked away like a countdown to doom, the IS-7 began to take shape, a gargantuan tank of unyielding steel, with a hull that seemed to defy gravity and a gun that screamed for revenge. The IS-7's design was a masterclass in brutal efficiency, a symphony of steel and fire that would leave the world gasping in awe. Its armor was a labyrinth of interlocking plates, a veritable fortress of steel that could shrug off even the most withering artillery barrage. The IS-7's rise was nothing short of meteoric, a whirlwind of innovation and experimentation that would leave its rivals scrambling to keep pace. And at the heart of this maelstrom was the Soviet Union's most prized asset, its unwavering commitment to the dark arts of tank warfare. The IS-7 was the culmination of this unholy union, a creation that would make the very foundations of NATO tremble with fear. As the IS-7 roared to life, its 122mm gun blazing with a fury that seemed almost godlike, the world held its breath. The stage was set for a catastrophic confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the Cold War. The IS-7 was no mere tank, it was a harbinger of doom. A monstrous creation that would leave the world in its wake, a trail of destruction and despair that would be etched into the very fabric of history. In the bleak, snow-shrouded landscapes of 1945, the Soviet Union embarked on a top-secret project that would send shivers down the spines of the Western world. A behemoth of a tank, forged in the depths of the Soviet Empire's industrial might, was about to be unleashed upon the world. Its name would become synonymous with terror, a harbinger of doom for any army foolish enough to stand in its way. Meet the IS-7, a Soviet supertank of unholy proportions. Its 130 mm cannon, a behemoth of steel and fire, was the stuff of nightmares, capable of firing massive shells that could blast through even the thickest armor. It was an instrument of devastation, designed to reduce enemy fortifications to rubble. This was no ordinary tank gun, but a howitzer of war, capable of unleashing a maelstrom of destruction upon a battlefield. Its armor, a staggering 100 mm thick in places, was a testament to the Soviet Union's unwavering commitment to creating a tank that could shrug off even the most intense barrage. This was a shield of steel, polished to a mirror finish, capable of deflecting even the most potent anti-tank rounds. The IS-7 was a fortress on wheels, a mobile bastion of Soviet power that would stop at nothing to achieve its objectives. And yet, the IS-7 was more than just a tank, it was a reflection of the Soviet Union's unyielding ambition, a manifestation of its boundless military might. It was a symbol of a nation that would stop at nothing to assert its dominance, to leave its mark on the world, and to be remembered for generations to come. The IS-7 was a tank ahead of its time, a harbinger of a new era in warfare, where the boundaries between tank and artillery began to blur. It was a monster, a creature of steel and fire, forged in the depths of the Soviet Empire's darkest recesses. And it would soon become a nightmare for NATO, a challenge to the very foundations of Western military power. It's September 1944, the Battle of the Dukla Pass, a brutal clash of armor on the Eastern Front. The Soviet Union's latest behemoth, the IS-7, has been secretly field testing its might. The IS-7, a behemoth built to crush the enemy, a testament to the unyielding resolve of the Soviet people. Its designers had envisioned a tank that would shatter the German defenses, an unstoppable force that would leave the enemy reeling. As the IS-7 makes its way through the treacherous terrain, the landscape becomes a canvas of chaos. Soviet T-34s and KV-85s lay scattered, victims of the relentless German counterattacks. The IS-7's commander, a seasoned veteran of the Red Army, peers through the periscope, eyes narrowed, anticipating the unknown. The IS-7's 122 mm gun, a behemoth in its own right, is trained on a German Panther tank, its enemy in the crosshairs. The commander takes a deep breath, his fingers tightening on the firing mechanism. The IS-7's cannon roars to life, unleashing a thunderous salvo that strikes the Panther with unrelenting force. The German tank erupts in a blaze of flames. Its armor, once a formidable shield, now reduced to twisted wreckage. The IS-7's performance in this first encounter is nothing short of impressive. Its 122 mm gun proves to be a game-changer, capable of piercing even the thickest German armor. The IS-7's thick, sloping armor and its powerful transmission system allow it to move with a speed and agility that belies its massive size. The commander's assessment is clear. The IS-7 is a force to be reckoned with, a tank that will give the Germans a run for their money. But as the battle rages on, a nagging question begins to surface. Can the IS-7's impressive firepower and armor withstand the relentless onslaught of the German army? Will its sheer might be enough to shatter the enemy lines? Or will it succumb to the unforgiving realities of war? The IS-7's first encounter is just a glimpse into its performance, a fleeting moment in time that portends a far more sinister fate. It's the late 1940s. The Soviet Union stands victorious, yet shaken to its core. Joseph Stalin, the mastermind behind the Red Army's conquest, lies dying. His grip on power begins to slip, like sand between the fingers of a drowning man. As the great leader's life force ebbs away, the Soviet war machine, once a juggernaut of terror, suddenly hesitates. In the shadows of Stalin's Kremlin, A new breed of behemoth is being born. The IS-7. A behemoth of steel. A monster of war. A tank so fearsome, it's said to be almost unstoppable. But as Stalin's health declines, the fate of this super tank hangs precariously in the balance. Was this magnificent creation a testament to Soviet engineering prowess? A mere indulgence of a dying dictator? Or was it a harbinger of a new era? A symbol of Soviet strength in a post-war world? As Stalin's demise draws near, the IS-7's uncertain future becomes a question that will decide the course of history. In a city ravaged by war, where the stench of death still clings to every brick, a new generation of Soviet leaders begins to emerge. The likes of Georgy Zhukov and Kliment Voroshilov, men who once served at Stalin's beck and call, now seek to carve out their own destinies. Will they continue to nurture the IS-7, this creature of their former master's imagination? Or will they abandon it, like a wounded beast, to the mercy of the winds? The world holds its breath as the Soviet Union teeters on the edge of a new era. The fate of the IS-7 supertank, a microcosm of the Soviet Union's own fate, hangs in the balance. The clock ticks on, as Stalin's life slips away. A countdown to a new era that will change the course of history forever. But for the IS-7, the question remains, will it be a harbinger of greatness, or a relic of a bygone era? The answer lies in the shadows of the Kremlin, where the next generation of Soviet leaders will decide its fate. In the shadowy depths of the Soviet Union's military-industrial complex, a behemoth of a tank was born. Forged in the crucible of the Cold War, the IS-7, a steel giant of unparalleled proportions, would shatter the very foundations of conventional thinking in Soviet engineering, leaving a trail of awe and trepidation in its wake. As the IS-7's development progressed, it became a litmus test for the Soviet Union's technological prowess, a gauntlet thrown down to the Western powers. Its designers, a group of brilliant and uncompromising visionaries, pushed the boundaries of tank design, incorporating innovative concepts and materials that would redefine the art of armored warfare. The IS-7's impact on Soviet engineering was nothing short of revolutionary. It represented a quantum leap forward in terms of mobility, firepower, and survivability, making it an unstoppable force on the battlefield. Its sheer size and weight, a behemoth of 65 tons, belied its agility and maneuverability, as it devoured the vast expanses of the Soviet steppes with ease. But the IS-7's significance went far beyond its technical specifications. It was a symbol of Soviet determination and resolve, a declaration of intent to challenge the Western powers on their own terms as the Cold War raged on. The IS-7 became an icon of Soviet military might, a harbinger of the Red Army's unyielding ferocity and technological superiority. The IS-7's influence extended beyond the Soviet borders, casting a long and ominous shadow across the Cold War landscape. Its development and deployment sent shockwaves through the NATO alliance, as Western strategists and engineers scrambled to keep pace with the Soviet Union's technological advancements. As the nuclear specter loomed large, the IS-7 became a tangible representation of the existential threat posed by the Soviet Union. Its very existence served as a stark reminder that the Cold War was not just an ideological struggle, but a high-stakes game of military one-upmanship, with the fate of humanity hanging precariously in the balance. In the world of espionage and counter-espionage, the IS-7 became a prized asset, a coveted secret that Western intelligence agencies would stop at nothing to acquire. The tank's development and deployment were shrouded in secrecy, as the Soviet Union employed every trick in the book to conceal its technological prowess from prying eyes. As the Cold War entered its final act, The IS-7 stood as a testament to the Soviet Union's unyielding resolve and technological superiority. Its impact on Soviet engineering and the Cold War would be felt for generations to come. A lasting legacy of a bygone era, and a haunting reminder of the apocalyptic stakes that hung precariously in the balance. Imagine a behemoth, forged from steel and fire, a monster of the battlefield, born from the darkest recesses of the Soviet Union's arsenal, the IS-7, a super tank so fearsome, so unprecedented, that NATO strategists trembled at the mere whisper of its name. This was a machine designed to shatter the very foundations of Western armor. A juggernaut of war that would leave nothing but devastation in its wake. Weighing in at a staggering 60 tons, the IS-7 was an armored behemoth, its hull a latticework of steel plates and rivets, impenetrable to the most advanced anti-tank projectiles of the time. Its 122mm cannon, a fearsome gun capable of firing shells that could shatter concrete, was the ultimate deterrent. The IS-7's very presence on the battlefield would send a chilling message to NATO forces. You are no match for this. NATO's worst nightmares were not just about the IS-7's brute force, but its unrelenting speed and agility. This was a tank that could outmaneuver, outgun, and outlast any opponent on the battlefield. Its advanced suspension system and powerful diesel engine made it a force to be reckoned with. A tank that could dance across the battlefield with an uncanny ease, striking with deadly precision and disappearing into the shadows as quickly as it appeared. The IS-7 was more than just a tank, it was a psychological hammer. A tool of fear and intimidation that would shatter the very fabric of NATO's defense. Its existence was a stark reminder of the Soviet Union's unyielding resolve to dominate the battlefield, to crush all opposition beneath its steel heel. And for NATO, the IS-7 was a nightmare that would haunt their every waking moment. A constant reminder of the horrors that lurked in the shadows of the Cold War. Deep within the archives of the Soviet Union, a behemoth lies shrouded in shadows. Its existence a mere whisper of a bygone era. The IS-7, a tank of unfathomable proportions, forged in the crucible of war, yet left to rust in the sands of time. In the midst of World War II, as the world teetered on the brink of catastrophe, the Soviet Union's Design Bureau, led by the enigmatic Joseph Kotin, embarked on a top-secret project. Their mission, to create a tank that would leave all others in its wake. A colossus that would shatter the defenses of the enemy and reshape the very fabric of modern warfare. The IS-7 was born from this fevered dream. Its imposing form a testament to the ingenuity and desperation of a nation at war. Weighing in at a staggering 65 tons. Its 122mm gun capable of unleashing a devastating blast that could shatter concrete and steel alike. This was no mere tank, but a behemoth.